Today on One, we're driving to Sunday church and never leaving the car. Then, how these wounded critters are getting help to find their way back home. And we'll fly over a local town that calls itself America's Seaplane City. We've got all that and more coming up on today's show. This is One. I'm Amy Lo Cicero, and welcome to One, a show about the people and places that make Central Florida special. In this episode, we'll be sharing stories from the weird to the wild. But first, we head to one of Central Florida's older attractions that's also a National Historic Landmark. Bok Tower Gardens has been described as a spot of beauty second to none in the country. With its spectacular gardens surrounding the historic 205-foot tower, it's the sound of the carillon bells that truly bring the place to life.
My name is Geerty Hollander, and I'm a carillonneur, and I play the bells here at Bok Tower Gardens.
Geert is probably the top carillonneur in the world.
My father was a carillonneur. My grandmother was a musician. No, bells in my blood. That's what I do. There's 60 bells here. The smallest bell weighs 16 pounds. The heaviest bell, 24,000 pounds. Like a piano, and it's not like a piano. It's kind of difficult to explain. You can recognize the white keys and the black keys. But instead of playing it with your fingers, you have to use your fists. It also has a pedal for the biggest bells. We're talking about 500 pounds clapper. You can really feel the vibrations of these bigger bells in your body. Clappers on the inside, the clappers are connected to wires coming down to a keyboard, and that's where you make your music. Actually pretty simple, but it's a very impressive instrument. Unlike other little instruments, this is like, yeah. Once I'm playing the instrument, I feel like totally connected. It's like I become part of the keyboard. I feel the clappers in my hand. I feel everything moving. Yeah, it's a thrill. It's an incredible feeling. This is a perfect, natural concert hall. No noise, no cars, beautiful gardens. It's the perfect place to listen.
The towers are icon, fabulous work of art. One of the high points of Florida, and it's rising out of the woods. It's a meditative garden. It's a wildlife sanctuary, a bird sanctuary. It's a musical, cultural institution with the carillon. We are recognized as probably the top carillon in the world.
Carillon concerts can be heard every day at 1 and 3 p.m. For more information about the attraction, log on to boktowergardens.org. You don't have to miss Sunday service even when you're on vacation. In fact, the Drive-In Christian Church in Daytona Beach is making it easy for locals and vacationers alike to attend church. Once a drive-in theater in Daytona Beach shores, the church appeals to people looking for a break from the traditional or those who simply love being in their cars.
The drive-in church is it's just like any other church, but the pews are shaped a little different. We know people by their cars sometimes better than we do by their faces and their names.
Amen. The voice of Jesus calls us to come and to worship Him. Welcome to the Drive-In Christian Church this beautiful Sunday morning. The church has been in existence 59 years now. When they first started meeting here, this was a working drive-in movie theater.
And the funny question that always gets asked, well, is it a drive-through church? Do you get fries with that? So.
I think people are surprised when they find out we have a choir. We have Sunday school for children and youth.
Yes, I'll sing the wondrous story of the Christ.
We're just like a normal church, but we have to tweak things differently.
What a friend we have.
For example, indoors you have a small communion set to hold up among the congregation, whereas ours has to be supersized.
People can come as they are. If they're going to the beach after worship, they can come in their bathing suits.
I love it. That's what I say. You're dressed like you are there, casual and relaxed. And you just come here and listen to the word and enjoy it, that's all.
It's warm and welcoming, and you can come as you are.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing to hide.
We have people coming to this church well into their 90s because it's a very accessible place.
I had a triple bypass and couldn't sit in the pews where I was usually going, so the wife suggested we come here, and we've been coming ever since.
Coming to a drive-in church was a little strange at first because I didn't know what to expect. But as the service went on, I became very comfortable.
I feel as if I'm really in church.
There are people who come and worship here who just couldn't think of leaving their pet at home.
Oh yeah, bring my dog to church every Sunday. He knows when it's Sunday.
On the back. Come on, up. No, up. Come on. There you go.
We get up Sunday mornings, we put on our yellow shirts, and it's like, okay, I'm ready to go to church.
Yeah, he likes to ride around in the golf cart with me.
Where else can you take your dog to church? There's no two Sundays the same. The people are different. We fly the flags of people from all over wherever you come from. You make a $100 donation in the name of your state, and we fly your flag.
I mean, it just cries out Florida. It cries out vacation. It cries out come and relax.
Where are you more comfortable in this world? Where do you spend more time in this world than in your car? Go to church in your car. It makes a lot of sense.
The Drive-In Christian Church holds 2 services every Sunday at 8:30 and 10 a.m. And there is indoor and outdoor seating if you want to get out of your car. So, what happens to injured wild animals and birds that can't survive on their own? Several college students with a passion for animals are answering that call by helping some wounded critters find their way back to nature.
Thank you. Here at Back to Nature, our mission is to rescue, raise, rehabilitate, and release all injured and orphaned Florida native species. Our big goal is to educate and spread awareness, and we do that through the use of our non-releasable residents. We have about 45 residents ranging from a western cougar to a Florida native bald eagle to a Florida native gray squirrel.
I'm gonna get this guy too. Check on him. Come here. You all right?
I've been interning here probably about 2 months now. This little guy that I'm holding is Angel. He's one of our squirrels that was born with a birth defect. Love you.
I really love working with the baby birds and with the sick and injured animals. I am actually applying right now for vet school, and I want to specialize in wildlife and zoological animals.
Tara has bumblefoot, which is a bacterial infection from perching too long in one place or perching on inadequate perches in captivity.
I'm just trying to pull this talon out.
We do the best we can with continually treating it, applying antibiotics and a homeopathic remedy that we have, as well as pads to keep the pressure off of the calluses that are on her feet.
Okay, you're okay, sweetie. You're all right.
I organized this summer specifically so I could accommodate the internship. You can see his beak is crossed, so he can't eat on his own.
So I'm interning at Back to Nature so that I can get some hands-on experience with the animals and then go over to SeaWorld and do educational work. Stains usually get everywhere, and that way he gets to have a clean area and it doesn't smell bad and it looks nice and fresh when people walk by. It's nice to be a little bit moist on a really hot day, and he absorbs the water in through his skin. the internship program, it makes all the difference in us getting through the day and improving the place and being able to care for these animals properly. It started with just about 3 interns a semester, and it grew into what it is now, which is approximately 15 interns, of which 8 of them are UCF students. They need to be fed about 3 times a day.
Out here you get to see prime examples of human-animal interaction and animal ecology and rehabilitation, things I wouldn't otherwise get in the classroom.
Back to Nature is always looking for interns and volunteers. You can learn more about the organization at btn-wildlife.org. Coming up, we'll meet a man who knows a thing or two about butterflies. And later, we'll show you the Central Florida destination that's coined itself America's Seaplane City. But first, let's take a look at some nonprofit events and opportunities in our community. Millions of children go hungry every day, but for some families struggling to make it through the recession, relief can be found as close as their nearest school.
I feel like sad and worried because I don't have no food to eat, and I'm wondering if we're gonna get more. I feel happy because we all get something to eat.
We started with the Love Pantry as an idea to reach into the schools to help attack childhood hunger. The schools we're dealing with have 99 to 100% of kids who are being fed breakfast and lunch every day. And the question to us was, what are they taking home with them? What do they have in the evening? If they come to school hungry, then how do they learn?
Unfortunately, we have families that are hurting because of the recession all over our community. And the simplicity of this program is that our teachers are a great resource in identifying students and families that are hurting. And by having the food cabinets actually physically in the schools, they can just go downstairs, they can pull the food that is needed, they can contact the parents can pick up the food. It's very simple, it's very confidential, and it gets the food quickly into the families that need it.
What I see as a principal as one of the most important things is a sense of relief. So a child doesn't carry that burden and worry into the classroom. It's one less thing that they have to be concerned about. And then they can focus so much better in their classroom on their work. It's a relief, it's an ease for the children.
Kids are hungry. And that just doesn't make sense in our society that we would allow that to happen. And so we ought to respond the best way we can. We could address this small part and then partner with our other agencies in the community to say, how do we work together to make sure we, I guess, kind of raise everyone up in a sense to do that.
If you'd like to find out where you can volunteer or make a donation to your local food pantry, a complete list of food drop-off locations in your area can be found online at foodpantries.org. Locals call him the Butterfly Man, and most weekends you'll see him at Winter Park's Farmers Market with displays of caterpillars and butterflies. The entomologist says he hopes that his customers go away with not just a beautiful insect, but an appreciation of nature as well. Lorenzo Sages, the Butterfly Man, is this month's One to Know.
I have been a gardener since I was a kid with my grandmother. I began finding caterpillars at an early age when I was 6 or 7 years old, and I was always fascinated with them. And then I decided to dedicate the rest of my life doing caterpillars and butterflies, and that's what I had done. It began as a joke. I came one day, I was visiting the market, And I was asking the manager, what do you think if I begin selling caterpillars here at the market? And she said, why not? And the following week I was here, and it have been 20 years since then. I have been selling caterpillars and butterflies on this market for 20 years. I have the caterpillars. The caterpillars are going to be eating for a number of days, and then they are going to change into chrysalises. So that will be the second step in this case. And then they will be pupating for 7-10 days, and then they just change into butterflies. The important part is the plants that are together with the caterpillars, because every caterpillar is going to be using the completely different plant. I would say what I provide is a service that most than anything else is provide education to the general public, and because I make people aware of conservation, the habitats, natural habitats are disappearing, mainly because of human activity. And when the habitat is gone, the population of butterflies that might have been there will disappear together with the plants. But if people have plants in the yard for butterflies to thrive, then we will have butterflies forever.
To learn more about butterflies or to purchase one of these cute little critters for yourself, visit the Winter Park Farmers Market on Saturdays at 200 West New England Avenue. Next on One, it's Project Runway Florida Style. The glitz, the glamour, and the fashion come to Winter Park for the annual Park Avenue Runway Show. But first, let's take a look at some upcoming events from around the area. If you have a story idea, let us know by emailing us at one@ucf.edu. In this edition of Central Florida Hometown, One Central Florida City has figured out a unique way to get its economy soaring. Whether you arrive by land, by sea, or by air, things are taking off in Tavares, America's seaplane city.
Seaplanes in Florida is just a fabulous combination. Number one, because there's so much water, and number two, because the freedom of being able to land just about anywhere in Florida.
The seaplane was invented in 1910. And 4 years later, seaplanes were flying off these shores in Tavares in 1914. The community got together about 6 years ago and decided to pick itself up from its bootstraps and create a vision for its future because the economy was hurting. And they decided collectively that they wanted to brand themselves as America's Seaplane City based on those historical events. The rebranding of America's Seaplane City has brought jobs and growth to our community.
We came to Tavares because there was a meeting of the minds with regard to what Tavares was looking to do with their city and making it America's Seaplane City, and the fact that we manufactured seaplanes and we were looking for a place to be able to conduct our business and grow our business, and we have the perfect place to do this. It is such incredible freedom to be able to fly at low altitude. You fly slow. It's like riding your motorcycle in the air.
Tavares is great in the way that they embrace the seaplane community.
So many communities around the country put aviation as far away from the center of town as possible, whereas Tavares brings it into the center of town and really builds the town around it and gets the town excited about it.
There's a lot of cute little towns, there's a lot of pretty little towns, a lot of waterfronts, but people have to have a reason to go there. We find that since we built the restaurant on the marina here and the seaplane base, that we have people coming, sitting here having lunch, just waiting for seaplanes to land.
One of the things that we do that's for the public is we do seaplane rides, anywhere from 10 minutes up to about an hour and a half or so.
We've done over 4,000 seaplanes in the last 2 years. It's blew our expectations out of the water. So we see a steady growth in jobs and our economy here based on our theme.
Splash down in Tavares in April and bring your appetite to the annual Planes, Trains, and Barbecue event. More information on this and other events can be found at tavares.org. When you think of high heels, high fashion, and runways, New York typically comes to mind. But once a year during Park Avenue Fashion Week, Winter Park becomes a fashionista's paradise and a place where young, up-and-coming designers can show off their creations.
And there's also a couple of designers that were in an emerging designers competition.
I'm one of the designers from the Emerging Designer Contest. I'm one of the final 3, and part of the contest was a Project Runway Challenge. We were given unconventional materials to work with. And the concept behind the Project Runway Challenge is to create looks that work 125 years in the future.
They had about like 250 finalists, and they narrowed that down to 3, and then we all made a look from construction materials.
The collection's called Naya, and that means new in Punjabi. And it's basically Indian inspired. I have a lot of gold, a lot of accessories included. There's some black leather detailing, but I have pastels and colors, so it's a fun collection.
Experience for an emerging designer and people who are looking for exposure and to get their name out there.
The dates for next year's fashion show have not been announced yet, but you can find updates on their website at parkavenuefashionweek.com. Thanks for joining us for this edition of One. I'm Amy Lo Cicero. We leave you with some scenic views over Tavares. We'll see you next time.